This month I was supposed to finish my big project and failed, but I did catch up on my retro impressions, so let's talk about that instead. So it's my wife's birthday this month, and there's a couple of things we're doing for it, but the first one was she wanted to go see a film about Katseye, which are a K-pop group that she likes, and they make music which is kind of awful. I don't mean this in like a sort of I hate K-pop way. I don't listen to enough K-pop to care. I don't have any opinion on K-pop in general. It's more that every song I've ever heard from them has been incredibly repetitive, with like the most boring lyrics you've ever heard. And some of the beats are okay, but that's it. There's just bland and repetitive, and there's nothing there to enjoy, so I don't really get why anyone likes them, but she does for some reason. So we went to see this movie, and it was a documentary, and the documentary not only didn't change my mind, it actually did change hers, so she finds them less interesting now as well. It was just one of the most boring documentaries I've ever seen. It was just really poorly made. There was large sections with background music, and the background music was really distracting, and it was mixed too high, so you couldn't really hear the people talking, but it was also over the top of music in the scene. So like, they'd be on the set of a music video, and the music for the music video was playing, and then there was background music on top of it, and then people were talking, and it was just really hard to pay attention to anything that was happening because of it. When they did say anything, it took them about 20 minutes to say any sentence. Now, one of them, her first language is not English. I think everyone else in the group, their first language is English, and one of them, her first language is Korean. It's either that or the rest of them are all just way more confident speakers than she is. But either way, like, she took a really long time to say anything, but I'm like, okay, I can forgive that because, like, English isn't her first language or whatever. But everyone else would take a really long time to say something that didn't mean anything. Like, one person said a thing about how, like, when they perform because the performance is what they care about. And it's like, yeah, what are you talking about? They said that when they do a performance in your face so that you can get what they mean from their performance. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I ended up leaving partway through, and I went to get McDonald's. And it's not entirely because it was boring. That was part of the reason. But part of it was that we were supposed to go meet someone, and my wife misread how long the film lasted, so she stayed and finished watching it, and I just went and met them, went and got McDonald's. Apparently it didn't get much better. Today, we went to Grizedale for my wife's birthday as well, because we go just about every year. It's a sculpture park in the Lake District, if you don't know. I've spoken about it like every year, so I'm not going to give much explanation of it. I looked it up, and at least since 2019, we've been all but 2 years. And the 2 years is because we went somewhere else instead. But we almost didn't go, because it was raining last night, and my mother-in-law decided that meant we shouldn't go today, and then we ended up going anyway. So, just had a massive argument over the weather for absolutely no reason. It's about 2 hours away, but we stopped at our services on the way, so it was about an extra half hour. And actually, no, it was more than that, because we had to stop and get petrol first in the morning, so it took us about 3 hours to get there in total. We left about 10 o'clock, we got there about 1 o'clock. And then my wife and I went on the walk. We usually do a pretty long walk, but this year we did a short walk, because my mother-in-law was complaining about us doing a long walk. So we did a short one. It's still an hour and a half, but we just walk along the trail and look at the sculptures, and that's about it, really. There's not really a huge amount that goes into it. We ate sandwiches. We always get a bit annoyed because the maps aren't very good. Every year the maps are different, so we buy a new one each year, and they've rearranged some stuff, and the maps are never very accurate. So they always point at things, but the things they point at don't seem to actually relate to where they are in real life. It's very frustrating. Sometimes things are a lot closer than they say they are, and other times they're way further away. But it wasn't too bad. We managed to find everything we wanted in the end. My wife left like little art things around the place, because she likes doing art. We bought a notebook, so she did like drawings as we went as well. On the way out, some of the park people, like the people who look after the National Trust parks, I don't remember what they're called, but some of them just drove past us, and in the back of the truck were all of the old waymarkers, because apparently they're getting rid of all the old waymarkers and replacing them with new ones. And they just drove past us with a truck full of them. And then we got down to the bottom of the hill and caught up with them, and they were just throwing them in a skip. So we just went over and was like, can we have one? And they just let us take one. So we've got one of those now. And my wife started crying because she was really happy. So it's like a birthday present for her. So tomorrow we're going to go buy a plant pot, and I'm going to get some concrete and concrete the post into the plant pot, because I don't want to dig a hole for it, but I do want it. I want it to be concreted in so that it's stable, but I don't want to dig a hole in the floor so we can move it relatively easily. we think that makes the most sense. I'm a bit worried about the pot not holding up to the concrete, but we'll just try and buy like a particularly good plant pot, like a particularly thick one or something. I don't know. We'll do something about it. I'm sure it won't explode, but we'll find out. All the plant pots we've got at the moment are terrible, so we need to get a new one. But yeah, so it's just going to sit outside now. We're going to clean it up a bit. We don't want to redo anything, so we're not going to like repaint it or anything, but we are just going to clean it up because it's quite dirty at the moment. So we'll clean it up and then refinish it with like an outdoor finish. I'm debating covering it in epoxy to stabilize the wood because it's old and it's been outside forever and we want to kind of keep it that way, so that would make sense. But at the same time, I'm not sure, and at the same time, that is something I could do later on. So what we might do for now is just clean it, refinish it with some teak oil that I've got, and then put it in the plant pot and just leave it because it'll look nice anyway. And then just came home. Took us about 2.5 hours to get back. We stopped and got Burger King. It's completely fine and too expensive. We got sandwiches for 4 people and it was 45 quid. It's just too much. Yeah, we left again about 10 in the morning. We got home about 7:30. And then I recorded a Yakuza and then recorded this section of the podcast. So I mentioned in last month's podcast that we're getting a dog and we went today to visit it. And yeah, it's a dog. I'm just more of a cat person. I'm not super interested in the fact that we're getting a dog. I've got to pay for it, which I'm not happy about. But yeah, we're getting a dog. It's going to make noise. Great. We were there for a few hours, although I actually left quite early because not long after we got there, my uncle came around because we're actually buying it from a member of my family. So one of my other uncles came around, the one who's been helping me with my big project. He came around because he wanted me to help set up a new computer for him. So he came and picked me up and took me to his. And it turns out there was actually very little that needed doing. He just doesn't really know what he was doing. So I literally just turned the computer on and it turns out that it was already fine. So I turned the computer on and installed Chrome. And that was the entirety of that job. And then the next job was setting up he got an Amazon Echo Dot. So I set that up for him and that was it. It took about half an hour. The problem with all this is that where he lives and where we're getting the dog from are like over an hour away from my house. So we had to drive well over an hour to get there. Then we got there, spent a couple of hours there, then had to drive back, and then we actually had to stop off at a toy shop on the way home because my wife is going away this weekend to see some of her family, and there's a child that they've not seen before. They wanted to get some toys for it as a gift, but they go on Saturday and today's Thursday, so there was only today and tomorrow to do it. So we figured it'd make sense to do that and get food at the same time. So they ended up getting like a doll's house thing for it. And while we were there, I bought a toy Roomba because it was £3 and it just drives around and it does actually vacuum things and it does change its route when it bangs into things. But it was also £3, so I was like, fuck it, I'll get one. I got that and I got a giant red panda. And I was like, honestly, more interested in those than anything else I've done today. We went and they got McDonald's and I tried a new kebab place, which was pretty nice. But it's weird, like some kebab places that don't do lamb. And lamb is just what I think of when I think of a doner kebab. But this was beef. And I just don't like beef kebabs anywhere near as much. Every time we go to a kebab place and it's a beef kebab, I am disappointed. It's not that the food is bad. It's just not what I want. I want a lamb kebab. But I got a mixed kebab, which is beef and chicken. And then I also got some halloumi. And I also got another naan bread and some hummus just to dip it in. Because my wife likes trying the hummus and my wife likes halloumi. So I got those so we could both try them. And yeah, it was pretty nice. It was good. It was a bit expensive. But I'm probably never going to go again. So it was worth trying. I also got this weird drink called salgam, which is a Turkish fermented carrot juice. And it's one of the worst things I've ever drunk. It's not nice at all. It's incredibly salty. There's actually very little flavour to it besides salt. I'm glad I've tried it, because I know to never get it again. I've not actually paid for the dog. I was supposed to. But it turns out they actually want cash. And if they want cash, I have to get cash out. And if I have to get cash out, I can't do that while I was there. Because at cash machines, you can only get 300 quid out a day. So it's not even like I could have gone to a cash machine and gotten enough out. Because it's like £1,000 for this dog. So I'm going to get some out for the next few days. And then I'm not sure yet. My uncle's coming down next week. So I'm either going to give him the cash and he'll take it back. Or we're going to pick the dog up next Saturday. So I might just take the cash then. But I don't know. I'm more interested in my red panda, to be honest. I brought the podcast forward a week because my big project isn't finished yet. And not only that, it won't be finished next week anyway. So you might be wondering why I've brought it forward. But like I mentioned previously, it's my wife's birthday. We were out on Saturday for the Katseye thing. At the time of recording, we're out tomorrow. I'm actually going to record sections of this podcast after each of the other things we do. So we're out tomorrow for Grizedale, which I've already spoken about. We're out on Thursday about this dog, which again, I'll have already spoken about by this point. So I've got, today is Monday. I've got today, Wednesday and Friday to work on anything. So the podcast is easier for me to work around. So I figured what I'd do is I'll bring the podcast forward a week and then make a different video for next week. I already know what that's going to be. It's just not going to be on the big project. The big project has taken a lot longer and is still going to take more time. So I'm also not sure how I'm going to do that now because it's very long. Like I've got over 100 gigabytes of recording so far and I'm maybe halfway through. So what I'm thinking of doing is maybe doing that as like a series of videos, and I can't do that until the end of the year because I can only do 3 videos before the end of the year after this one. Obviously because one of those is my game of the year for last year, I mean. So what I'm thinking instead is like do like maybe September, do a video a week, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I've recorded everything so far as if it's going to be one big video, so it makes more sense that way, but it might make more sense in terms of like actually releasing things to chop it up, but I'm not sure about that yet. Now, the other thing that's happened is I have finished all of my retro impressions. What that means is that, well, there won't be a video on Sunday, and then there won't be one on Tuesday, Thursday, or Sunday the week after either. When I say video, I mean the shorts, the impressions. Because I've just caught up. I've got through every half hour that I've made since I started in 2018, now has either an impression or a sentence to go with it. Quite a lot of them have both, but they've all got at least one of them, and even some extras I've made as well. So there's no videos the days when they would normally have come out, but in September, I'm going to be changing most of my videos. Friday is going to stay the same. Friday will always be like a Final Fantasy episode or stream, and then in the evening it'll either be nothing or a main channel video or a podcast, and then it will always be a sentence. But every other day in the week is changing. At the moment, we've got a Yakuza every day, and then in the evening it's either a half hour or a RuneScape. We're going to be going to every day in the evening is a half hour now, so we're now going to be going from 3 to 6 in a week, because that means I can get an impression out every day. So it keeps the cadence of impressions the same, it just means more half hours. I'm also going to be going from doing 1 sponsored video a week to 2, at least until I've caught up. By which I mean I've been given a ton of games that I've not made videos on yet, so I'm just going to do all of them until I've caught up, and then we'll go back to 1 a week, or maybe I'll get more again, so we'll do 2 a week, like something like that. We'll always have at least 1 a week, but at the moment we'll be going for 2. And then in the 12 o'clock slot during the day, those will now alternate between Yakuza and RuneScapes. So it's going to be a Yakuza on a Monday, Wednesday, and a Saturday, and a RuneScape on a Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So the days for those are staying the same, but just the time's moving. But it's just so that I can get enough videos out. I think that's everything. My sentences are staying the same. The podcasts and main channel videos are mostly staying the same. But yeah, I'm going to change all this, and it shouldn't really be much more work, but it might be, so I'm going to see how it feels. But yeah, that's what's happening. Special thanks to all of my patrons. You can join them over at patreon.com/Holden Gatsby, and for $1 a month you'll get to see what I'm working on early, wallpapers for all of my LPs, exclusive roles in my Discord, and any other rewards I might think of. You can also just follow me there if you want to for free, as it's probably the best place to see all of my content as soon as it's available. There's links to the Patreon, along with my Discord, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, and all the other podcast platforms in the description for this episode. Finally, don't forget you can email me using podencastby@gmail.com if you've got anything you want to say. Thanks for sticking around. Bye. Special thanks to my patrons, Justin Wood and Koopy Vegeta. Take your place in the free market over at patreon.com/Holden Gatsby. Check out my Instagram, TikTok and Twitter at Holden Gatsby, and follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Holden Gatsby. Don't forget to subscribe to all of my channels. If you want more, you can watch my last video now, but if not, then thanks for sticking around. Bye.